I think, we think of China or some of these ecosystems and we think about cheap labor, but that's not really the case anymore. I mean, the prices
Right.
of labor, for example, in China have gone up just a ton over the years, right? The salaries and everything have really risen.
Right.
I think what people don't realize is in China, they have they've built in such an automation
Hmm.
into these factories and the systems that we just don't have here yet. So a ton of it's actually automated out to where you're kind of getting around some of those labor costs actually, and so
Right.
that's a big part of it. And then you think about where do some of these materials come from that you're having to, let's just say you're making it here in the U.S. You're actually importing a lot of it,
Right.
and so, that's another issue. You're having to bring it over, then build it. You've got different regulations. You've got different, expenses and salaries to pay for, overheads, and so those are some of the things that that go into it, I would say. And
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit deeper than that, but those are the first kind of couple of things that come to mind. It is still so much more automated than we have here. So that's something that can be fixed though, which is a good thing.
It is. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what the point I was driving towards. So it surprises me, though, that China advanced their automation capabilities so quickly and efficiently, given the fact that they did have significantly lower labor costs. So, you would think that us, with our higher labor cost, would have been a lot more on the ball with the automation story.
Yeah, you would think. And so I don't know the entire kind of backstory and how that all came about. I mean, obviously, we hear about, right, Apple shipped a lot of their kind of know-how and capabilities out early on, and kind of helped build up that ecosystem there. And they've just been continuing to kind of double down. I think they have kind of seen just through just all the hours and the work that they've put in manufacturing in general, all the money that has gone into manufacturing, they see themselves as the manufacturing hub.
Mm-hmm.
They've just invested heavily and had a very eye out for the future and understanding where it's going. And it's just been kind of this one single thread line of like, hey, this is where it's going. This is where we're doing, and they've been able to kind of capitalize that on
Yeah.
that. And I think that's maybe I mean, that's politics aside, that's a whole other story. But we do, I think, can be a little bit more short-sighted sometimes here. And we're on political cycles, we're on different things. We're not able to kind of run things through in a straight line, and
Exactly.
um, they may not have that issue for different reasons.
When you're a dictator, you have the convenience of longevity. Uh, but yeah, there's advantages to that, and obviously that causes a lot of problems in our country. Having every 4 years you have a new administration that has a completely different plan for the future of America, and so they immediately undo everything that the previous one did. And yeah, it's not a great situation. But that is what it comes from, is the top down. You know, in like you said, they decided they were going to be a manufacturing hub. We're still waffling on that. I mean, even like a town like Erie that I said has, some of the oldest manufacturing roots in the United States. The leaders here are still kind of like, oh, well, we want to be a tourist town. We want to be this, we want to be that. And it's like, no, guys, like double down on what you're good at, And so, yeah, I think that's a big part of it. So,
Mhm.
when you're heavily involved in the electronic space, and when it comes to imports, electronics is probably percentage wise a lot higher than a lot of other types of manufacturing. So, where do you see an opportunity in the US for us to ramp up production of a given type of electronics, semiconductors, things of that nature, and be competitive? I know there's situations where we just don't have the materials here, but I think that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah, it's a good question. I think back to my time in Switzerland, because you look at this small country that they have such a reputation for this high precision, yeah, whether it's through watches, electronics, or just this great value add, even just through chocolate. But right, so
Right.
it's building up this reputation, and so a Swiss-made product has weight. It carries the certain weight that we know,
Right.
like, hey, this is going to be high precision. This is going to be excellent quality, right? And so I don't think the U.S. wants to just manufacture everything here. That doesn't make much sense in a certain way, just to have factories on every corner and making T-shirts and cheap gadgets and everything like that. Like,
Yep.
I think that's where it's good to kind of keep leveraging trade and international collaboration.
Yep.
I still think that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I think about, what does that look like in the future? Where are the opportunities? I think it's, doubling down on certain types of technologies, maybe around, data centers, the semiconductor, obviously. I mean, here in Austin and Texas in general, we're seeing a ton of that, right? Just
Yep.
these new factories. Some of those are coming back, right? And those are going to be really key areas. Obviously strategic defense, that's out of my pay grade, but like, hey, okay, yeah, if we want to be, we should be able to make our own drones, have everything here, our own kind of defense systems, right? Let's be able to have those kind of really key strategic things be able to be made in the U.S. and then kind of build out from there.
Yep.
I think that makes sense. So yeah, I'm not sure if that really answers your question, but those are kind of just first couple of
Yeah,
things that come to mind.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that, and I think in the U.S. we need to start gravitating towards the highest value add stuff. Um, and you can, and I mean, obviously you need the defense stability. I'm looking for the right word, but you need to have some of that critical manufacturing here in the U.S. But I think a lot of it could be through partnerships, and then we focus on you know uh, you know AI integration with electronics, and we focus on just the highest value engineering, design, that sort of stuff. So, is IP as big of an issue in China as most of us believe it is? IP protection.
I, I mean, I, if I look at it from our perspective, it hasn't been an issue with us because well, we have a lot of protections in place to protect IP. So that's one of the reasons why we say you should work with us and not go directly to China, because it is a risk if you're going to people, to factories that you don't know. You don't know their motive. You don't. Sometimes you're not even working directly with the factory. There's a lot of different people involved. You've got sometimes it's even accidental. They're just kind of sitting around your work. You're trying to get quotes at different factories. You don't know who's overseeing it and handling it, right? So um, there's certainly some risks involved, and so you do want to kind of protect against that, right? So for us, it comes down to obviously heavily vetted and trusted relationships that we built.
Mm-hmm.
We do use NDAs both here, and we have Chinese NDAs. We lock it down as much as possible. We only share the information with on a must need to know basis. We're
Right.
keeping it all within one umbrella. We know where everything's going. There's no files being shared here left and right. Um, and in some extreme cases, some you can also, if you're really trying to be extra cautious, right? Then you might have different factories that are doing different parts of the build. You'll keep the source code over here. You'll keep these
Right.
things over here. So we're okay, great. You've got a PCB design, but have fun with that. What do you want to do with it? That's
Right.
great.
Right. Yeah.
uh, so I would say yes, certainly there are risks out there, and you need to be very careful. Make sure you know who you're working with. Um, uh, but on a bigger sense, like I tell people, your IP is great, but if you're worried about someone else copying it, could I just like could someone just take it and do a reverse engineer of it and break it down, and if that's it, if that's your business model, I'd say you don't have enough of a moat around your business in the first place.
Right. Okay.
Um, uh, so there's two sides of it, but
Yeah.
we've never had an IP breach in our 20 years of doing business there, but we certainly have seen it out there. So it does exist, and you have to be careful.
Yeah, that's good advice. No, and that makes sense. Kind of splitting up, making sure you're segregating the knowledge, because you're probably not going to have one factory make the product from start to finish. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, great advice. It sounds like you are exactly what a lot of companies need, whether they're in the startup phase or they're thinking of working overseas and need somebody that knows what they're doing and knows how to do it. So yeah, I really appreciate valuable insights you've shared.
Thank you so much. I mean, at the end of the day, hardware is hard, but it doesn't have to be lonely, right? So,
Right.
um, so we're just trying to make that journey a little bit smoother, help you avoid pitfalls, and manage through the chaos that comes with working in hardware.